Hi, this is Eric Martin with Board Game Geek. Here looking at Matthew Dunston's Relic Runners with Mark Kaufman showing it off from Days of Wonder. And this is your semi-annual big box
Once
game.
every 2 years
Once every
game.
2 games, yeah. Your big box game is coming out here, being released in September.
Yep, end of September it'll be out in stores, yeah.
You have a couple of copies here you're demoing at Gen Con, so I'm glad we get to take a look at it.
Great, yeah, so we just got them air-shipped in from the manufacturer on Monday, so just a handful of copies. It'll also be at Essen as well, so where it'll actually be for sale there as well. And what's interesting is that Matt, this is for us really different in that Matthew, it's his first game that's ever been published, which we've never done before. We always do usually experienced authors.
I saw the interview with him. He didn't even know you had the game.
Yeah.
To begin with.
So he had submitted it to a European game design contest where he didn't win, but it was highly regarded. And one of somebody he knew there that was running the event gave it to our people in Europe in our Paris office, and so they were playing it and they had a rules question, so they got his email or phone number and called him, and he was like, "What? Days of Wonder has my game? This is strange. What's going on here?" So it was a surprise to him, and he was awfully excited that we liked it. I mean, it was pretty cool. And he designed it with a little different theme. Was wandering monks in Asia, and we said, we think that.
The exploring theme is...
Yeah, and also, he actually said somewhere, he said, I actually like this theme. It works better with kind of the mechanic, and he's actually trained as a mathematician and is now studying for his PhD in chemistry in Cambridge in the UK. So, so he's way smarter than you and I.
Different path going on for this and the other.
Yeah.
So we're obviously running for relics.
Yeah, exactly. So you're an explorer that is moving around the jungle trying to get relics. There's actually a couple of different parts to the game where you can earn points. So you can explore the different temples that you have around here. And some of those temples, and it's actually the purple ones, where we actually turn over the top relic and then, we're missing a purple.
Up here.
No, we're not. Magically it appears. Okay. Where we turn those over so you actually know what you're actually going to go for in those cases. So it's like, this is going to be able to allow you to get that. Okay. And then different ones are going to give you different styles and different capabilities in terms of what you're going to do. The pathways that move around pretty much work the same, with one major difference, that there are these capabilities with rivers that they have toolbox tokens next to them. And the toolbox is your player's mat, where you can actually increase your abilities to do different things within the game. In one tree, the machete section of it, it's going to allow you to do some different things where you're going to score. In the center one, the compass, it's actually going to help you navigate better. And then the third one, which is the shovel, is going to help you get more tools and that sort of thing. Okay. So the game starts, everyone starts in the central area here, so it's like camp, the base camp. In the game, you're allowed to move on any of the paths. If it's an unexplored path, you can move, and then you only get one move on an unexplored pathway. Okay. But you have this ability, and that's what these pathways are, to kind of memorize where you've been. So once you've explored something, you can actually then place a pathway, and then you can move over that as a free move as you need to. So early on in the game, you're exploring temples. And what happens is you'll take a piece off, say, if I'm the blue player and I moved here, I get to pay one of my rations, which to do an activity here. And that's going to allow me to take the token here, and it's going to basically say, I'm going to be able to move a toolbox and the like. So I can basically move that up one of my trees if I wish to. Actually, it allows me to do it twice instead of once. So that's my action that I can take, and then it'll be your turn. If I had moved to a ruin, so these are temples, the green ones with the white, those are ruins. So I'll suggest that you do that just so we can show how that works.
Why? Certainly.
Because
I
why
would
not?
like to move to a ruin.
You can then turn over the ruin, and that allows you to take one of your pathways and then adjust it. So you could do it here, or you could do it so you can move over to some other place. And just for fun, we'll say we're going to do it there. All right. Okay. So we remove this because we've now explored that. I removed the mine, and we've explored that. On my next turn, and you'll notice, of course, we only have you didn't pay your token to do your ruin. I didn't tell you had to. Okay. So you'll notice that you're going to lose these. You're going to need to go back to home base, and you're going to need to replenish your ration packs because you're going to run out of them. And there are ways that you can actually, so as you move up your tree, you're going to be able to increase your rations and be able to get more. There are some of the tiles in the temples that are actually going to give you more power. Say, some will say, hey, immediately take up to 5 ration packs. So you're far off in the jungle and you don't have to go back, and that's going to give you some advantage here. So on my next turn, I'm going to make a move here. So I haven't made any pathways, so I can only move one place, and then I stop here. And that's going to allow me to then add one of mine. And I think I'm going to be able, I'm going to move, yeah, I'm going to set it so I can move back over here. Okay, so that's my turn. And then you can take a turn. So I'm going to show you how the river tiles work there. You move there.
And it's a free move because
it would be a free move, and then you can get one more move if you want to. So you can move over here, or you can move over there. Also, when you pass this is a toolbox token. So all the rivers have toolboxes on them, and that allows you to take, we actually should have started you here, sorry. It allows you to take your toolbox and move it up one spot on any of these particular sections that you want to. So this one would allow you to then move one of your token, one of your pathways any way you want. This one gives you a choice of you can immediately get 2 coins. The goal of the game is to have the most victory points at the end. So you'd be able to do that. Or you can then bring another toolbox out if you choose to. So because you've done that, you
can go up here.
Yep. And then on your next turn, you'd be able to then say, I'm going to use this. It goes back here as you use it, and then I'm going to be able to add a second one that I can now move up a different tree if I want to, or the same tree if you want. And the farther up the tree you go, the more valuable it's going to be. For example, the highest one in this one, you can double the value of your victory points on your highest one on whatever turn you choose to do it. When you use this, it always goes back. No matter where it is, it's always going to go back to this, but you'll have more in
So you advance it up for the one-shot ability.
Exactly. Or to take the 2 points if you wish to.
Okay. Now, you talk about getting the most victory points being the victory or the winning condition. Where do we get the relics
so
here?
I'll jump ahead a little bit just to kind of show. So if I went back and explored this, for example, on my next turn, which I could do for free, I don't necessarily have to move again. This is actually going to give me, this should have been face up when I removed it because it's purple. I save this in my stash, and it's going to allow me, it's 3 victory points at the end of the game, okay? Once this is removed, the last one is removed, this now becomes a shrine, and because it's purple, I put a purple relic here. Okay, so now a relic has entered the board. Later on, let's say, and we're going to jump ahead here for TV purposes, let's say you had explored here, this relic is going to go out here now. And the idea would be that you would want to have pathways that are going to allow you to get from one to the other. So a relic run has to occur when there are 2 of the same kind of relics on the board. In this case, the purple grimacing jujus, that's what we call them. On your turn, either you must start at where a relic is and travel to a matching relic. Now remember, on the same turn. So you must have pathways set up to do that. You can only go one undiscovered pathway. So I could, if it were my turn, I could go here because that's undiscovered, and then I can, actually I can't because it's your turn. It's your pathway. You would go here, jump, and then your free turn, you would take this relic and add it. So the relic, you get score points in 2 different ways when you get relics. Every segment that you go through, you double that, and that's a score. So you would automatically get 6 because you did 3 segments. So you're going to get 6, and these are kept secret from the rest of the players. You also get this relic. For every relic of a different type, you earn 5 points at the end of the game. So
your relics of the same type, I just keep you from scoring.
Exactly. So if you then later on, let's say this was explored, and you had, actually it would be white. So we go from here to another white one, say over here, and you have a pathway. You can, one of the nice things is if you would set this up where you could move one, you could say, okay, I need to move my pathway here, and then if you're starting here, you can skip that over and go all the way over here. Obviously, the longer your relic run, the more points you're going to score because you double for each segment that you're in there. And you also want to make sure that as players are interacting with each other, you can kind of see how people are setting up their relic runs, and then you can kind of say, okay, how can I foil what they're doing? Maybe I'll do a shorter relic run just to get rid of that other relic because I don't want him to get the one that he's setting up to do a 6 relic, 6 pathway jump.
Especially in a 2-player game.
Exactly, because it's very much directly.
You mentioned this is set up specifically for 2 players, but 3 players you have taller temples.
Yeah, you'd have taller ruins, which is what these are, and then taller temples where you'd use the round tokens as well. So there's a little bit more pre-exploration information before you actually start putting relics out.
Right.
So what's interesting about the game is early on, you've kind of got this wide open map, and you're like, okay, you can kind of be on your own. Over time, as the relics start to come out, the turns get quicker and quicker. And so what I like about sort of the gameplay is
these are on the board.
These are on the board, and it's more about you kind of set your strategy. Now you're trying to make it happen. And the other thing is, as you're playing, often players, their turn will be, I need to go back to home base because I need to replenish my stock. You may only look at a temple, explore a temple or a ruin if you have food, because those rations are going to, with every turn, it's going to cost you if you want to explore that temple when you move to it. Okay. The game plays, the length of time is determined by the number of players, and then this is the number of relics that have to be grabbed or taken before the game ends. So if you're playing a 5-player game, 10 relics have to be scored. And as you get to the end, most of these temples will be clear, and there'll be a lot of relics on there, so it tends to happen pretty quickly. And at game end, whoever takes, if it's a 5-player game, takes the 10th relic, everyone else gets one more turn to try and finish a relic run. The other really fun thing about it is, often you'll go, as you count up the points at the end and how many, the different points that you have, you'll say, oh, I needed one more turn. And that's, the games tend to be really tight when you play with them.
Right.
And I think that's pretty cool.
Right. So, okay. Well, it's just the Ticket to Ride phenomenon again. It's always just like,
I just needed one more.
Got one card, got one
so
train,
we like games that inherently create this tension of, as you get towards the end, it's like, oh, I need to do this, and I'm going to run out of time because someone can end the game on me, just like you could in Ticket to Ride.
All right.
So Relic Runners, like I said, it'll be out at the end of September, everywhere, worldwide. It's a $60 game. We spent a lot of time on the different components. They've all got little hand painting on them. This is my favorite, actually. I kind of like this with the gold paint that's on there as well. That's the short version of what Relic Runners is.
All right. Well, thanks very much for the overview.
All right.
I mean, yes, really the bits. This frog is great. He's ejecting. All right. Well, thanks very much.
All right. Thanks.
Look forward to it.
Appreciate it.